phones on vibrate or turn them off as not to disturb the meeting would be greatly appreciated. Sarah, if you would do roll call.
Sure. Councilman O'Flaherty.
Present.
Councilman Fazio.
Here.
Councilman Hoppenstedt.
Here.
And Supervisor DePiero.
Present. Okay, welcome everybody, and I'm glad that everybody had a chance to come out tonight. The first on the agenda, we are going to do a public hearing, and this is on the local law for the tax cap. And what this is a law, the local law that was introduced. It is introductory local law number 2. I will read it, open up the floor for questions, comments, and we will move forward. So, the town of Plattekill, notice of public hearing, introductory law local law number 2 of 2024. Public notice is hereby given that on October 2nd, 2024, the town board of the town of Plattekill duly introduced a local law entitled Override of Tax Levy Limit. The proposed introductory law authorizes but does not require the town board to override the limit on the amount of real property tax that may be levied by the town of Plattekill pursuant to General Municipal Law 3-C, and to allow the town of Plattekill to adopt a budget for fiscal year of 2024 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit, as defined by the General Municipal Law 3-C. The introductory local law also contains a statement of intent and authority and an effective date of immediately upon filing with the New York State Department of State or sooner if allowed by law. Complete copies of this proposed introductory law are available for inspection and or reproduction of the office of the town clerk, Town Hall, 1915 Route 4455, Modena, New York, anytime during normal business hours. Additionally, the introductory law is available for inspection on the town of Plattekill's website at https://townofplattekill.ny.us. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law, the Board of the Town of Plattekill, New York, will hold a public hearing to receive public comment on this introductory law at the Town Hall, 1915 Route 4455, Modena, New York, on October 16th, 2024, at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard, at which time all persons interested shall be heard. Persons' written comments should be addressed to the office of the town clerk of the town of Plattekill, P.O. Box 45, Modena, New York, 12548, and shall be received prior to or not later than the public hearing. And this is going to be by the order of the town board of the town of Plattekill. So, I will at this time make a motion to open up the public hearing on the tax law levy.
Second motion.
So we have a motion on the floor, and this would be specifically the introductory law number 2 of 2024. So we have a motion on the floor to open public hearing with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. So at this time, before I go into comments and questions, keep in mind what's been proposed is the ability to go above the 2% tax cap. We did that last year during budgeting, and we've done that in the past. If we do not pass this law, that means that we only can stay within that 2% limit. I would love to do that. I would love to keep it at a flat, no increase in taxes. These aren't the days that we live in, unfortunately. When we received the tentative budget, basically what that is that's a request that's put out to all the department heads in the town, and that is basically a wish list, so to speak, for things that they're required to operate their department for the year. It's also a chance or an opportunity to look at salaries. It's an opportunity to look at requests to make the departments better, whether it be tools, equipment, whatever it is that they need to add to that department to do their job. A mechanic is not going to do a job without their tools, so this is where we acquire the tools. The next thing, there's a contractual, which means that we still have to put the lights on, we still have to have phones, internet service, fuel in the trucks, and the equipment to actually fix the vehicles, plow the roads, and so forth. So this budget was proposed by all the departments, and again, this is strictly a tentative budget. We are already going through and department by department, looking at each department and trying to determine what wants are and what needs are, and travel accordingly, and make sure that we are spending the money as wise as can be. We don't want to collect $2 if it's $1 that's needed. We don't want to collect $2 if it's $1.99 that's needed. So to be totally accurate, it's tough, but that's the job that we do. Our tentative budget is an accumulation of all the budgets of the town. It includes the general fund, the DA highway fund, library, lighting districts, drainage districts, Modena Fire District, Clintondale Fire District, Plattekill Fire District, and then it comes up with a total. Excuse me. When I first looked at this budget, the tentative budget was actually a little bit higher, and we requested the departments to look at it a little bit closer, and the overall is right now at a 16.70% increase. That is a heck of a lot, to say the least, in my book. And that is, I don't want to say it's unrealistic because, again, it's the day and age we live in, but I can tell you this, that each department has met, with the exception of, I believe, 3 departments we have not met with yet. And each department is doing the due diligence to fine-tune and, again, determine what they need, determine what's required, determine what they want. So this 1670, again, is a tentative number. I don't know what the final numbers are going to be, but I can assure you that myself and the rest of the board is going to do the best we possibly can to keep the taxes as low as we possibly can. We're taxpayers also, and we live in the town and want to remain living in the town. So what I will do is I will open it up to public comment. I would like you to, I'm just going to say a number, keep it to 3 minutes, but I would like you to give your name, your address, and out of respect for the amount of people we have, 3 minutes. I'm not going to hold you to that, but if you go on, then we will maybe ask you not to, go so far. But at this time, the floor is yours. So respectfully, just stand up, state your name, raise your hand while calling you, however you want to work. Yes, sir.
Sorry. Just had a knee replacement, so it's not.
I know that feeling.
Okay, basically the reason I came is I found out about this from somebody else. I didn't really know about it, okay? But the thing of it is we're talking about raising taxes. Now, as a senior in this area, no matter what the case may be, and I've talked to many seniors in this area that are actually having to relocate because their taxes are more than the mortgage they used to have.
Understood.
We know, I'm in business also. I know tools cost money, I know this costs money and that costs money. Everybody here, I think, in the past year has suffered a problem with inflation. Okay? I used to go out to dinner twice a week. Now I go out to dinner once a week. Okay? So what I'm trying to get at is I know the needs, but most of the time it's the wants. Mm-hmm. Right now, needs have to be really looked at, especially at this point in time. We have an election coming up, and hopefully the right people get in charge. But to increase our taxes right now, you're going to find more people with for sale signs out of their house.
Understood. Can I just get your name, please?
Thank you very much.
Can I just get your name?
You want your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Al Francis. And you want my address?
Sir?
No.
Just
Your name is fine.
Plattekill is fine.
Okay.
Next? Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Catherine Beinkaffner, 1003, Route 4455, Clintondale. On this page, Town of Plattekill 2025 tentative budget summary and levy and determination.
What page are we looking at?
Now, it looks like it's at page 2, but it's a summary of everything. And down at the bottom, salary of elected officials.
Yes.
So we start with supervisor, town council, town clerk,
Yep.
town justice. And it appears that if it's $47,000 for the combination of the two justices, then their individual salaries would be $23,500.
Yes, I will tell you that we met with the both justices and the Justice Department, and they agreed to take a flat increase and not go to 6%.
6%?
I will tell you the town board is 3%, and we're also taking into consideration even that.
But I think the number's wrong here.
The numbers, again, this is just tentative. We haven't adopted this.
Okay.
This is tentative. This is what was written up first. But again, we've met with those folks, and the numbers are all going to change. The numbers that you see are going to change as we go through each department and we start trimming.
Okay. Fine.
Okay? Next.
Kim
Yes,
Campbell,
ma'am.
1885 Routes 44 and 55 in Modena, New York. I haven't had a raise in, I hate to tell you how many years. I pay my taxes. I'm stretched. I have trimmed my own budget. I suggest you do the same because what you're asking for is exorbitant. We cannot afford it. We aren't getting
I
raises.
totally
We're paying
understand.
everything else that everybody. We aren't getting any 3% raise. We aren't getting a 6% raise.
Right.
We aren't getting any increase in our paycheck. What we do have are extra fees, and this would be an outrageous amount of money. I suggest you don't buy a new town truck or a paver or anything else. And don't tell me that you're gonna. This is just a figure, and we're gonna vote on it tonight. No, I want it in writing, stone cold, exactly what you're talking about. Not we'll vote on it tonight and we'll tell you later.
I don't understand what you specifically mean about running on it tonight.
You said that it would be put forward tonight after the town meeting, the new law. No, that
Do
doesn't
you understand,
apply.
ma'am, do you understand what the new law is?
Yes, actually I do.
Okay.
You're going to override what the state has decreed.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. You're going to add more money to your own pockets in this town. I suggest this pocket learn how to budget itself because you're not.
Ma'am, I will tell you, and I will give you my commitment that I will forego any raise. Myself, personally, I will speak for myself. I will forego any raise. But to understand what that tax cap is at 2%.
Yes,
If
sir.
you do not pass a
Absolutely,
local
and that's
law,
way more than what we can afford
Ma'am.
as it is. We
Ma'am.
are facing, 17% increase across the board on
so
fuel and
let
everything
me.
else?
Okay, I'll take that into consideration. Okay, ma'am.
Can I ask you about the
Please, I can't hear.
Can I ask you about the library?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I want to also know about why the Plattekill Firehouse needs so much money.
so I have to tell you this. The only thing that I can speak on, is the town of Plattekill's tentative budget.
Okay.
And what's included in the town of Plattekill's tentative budget that we actually work on budget-wise is going to be your top line. If you want to put a check on it, I'll let you know. The top line which is the A general fund,
Okay.
okay, the DA highway fund,
Okay.
the lighting district.
What is a lighting district?
The lighting
What do you mean
district
by
is the
that?
lights that are actually on the poles as we go down the road. You're going to see them in Modena and Clintondale. Plattekill has a couple of them, but they're also considered Modenas.
Handles.
Okay, drainage districts. And that is it. We have no say at all, or no decision other than going to the library and talking to the library and asking them, please not raise the taxes. They do their own budget. The reason why this is on here is because the town effectively is the tax collectors for the library district. When we look down to the Modena Fire District, the Clintondale Fire District, and the Plattekill Fire District, each respective district has their own budget. So again, the Board of Fire Commissioners establishes the budget. They do their due diligence, whatever that is, their process. You also have the opportunity to go to their budget meetings as well and understand what they're doing and
So
what they do.
That money that they receive,
Yes.
that comes from where?
We collect that. Each
the
fire
taxpayers?
district, yes, Modena Fire District has an area that they cover. So they tax the Modena Fire District accordingly to the Modena Fire District needs.
Okay.
When Plattekill, they cover their area, they do the same thing. They establish a budget that's determined by the district and the needs that Plattekill covers. And the same thing with Clintondale. The only thing that we do with that, and the reason why it comes underneath these lines, it comes under here because we are the tax collectors for it. When you write a check for your taxes in September, that's your school taxes.
Right.
When you write your taxes at the end of the year, that goes to the town, and the town distributes that money. That money goes to the town, it goes to the fire departments, it goes to the library, and the portions go to the county. That's all covered under our general fund and the highway fund. So, respectfully, I totally understand it. I mean, I do not feel like the board is sitting up here not knowing and feeling exactly what you
Right.
folks are saying. And I don't want to get into an argument and a
We're
titter-tape
spending
back
all
and
this money on a
forth.
playground.
So I am very glad that you brought that up, ma'am. So the playground that's down there at the new park, the brand new playground was put up and paid for entirely by first a grant that was received through Ulster County,
It could have
and
been
the rest
spelled out.
and the rest was wasn't financed, was paid for and is being paid for through ARPA funds. ARPA funds, I guess it's the American Rescue Plan Act, with the money that they sent to all the municipalities. That is money, I hate to say this, and people might get offended or not understand when I say this, but I pray to God we never get those funds again. That came from a time where COVID, we were locked up, the federal government was putting out the money, and there's only certain things that we can spend that on. That money, we have to spend that money and earmark that money by a certain date, or we lose that money. It's my how would I say? It's my basically plan not to send a penny back to the federal government. They gave it to us, and guess what? We're expanding the park, which it hasn't been expanded in, 35, 36 years. We had the opportunity, so that's where we saw where everybody can actually touch that money. We cannot use that money to offset payroll. We can't use that money to balance the budget.
Library.
There's certain parameters that we have to use it on. It has nothing to do with the library. It's the town. So the park, whatever you see going on at the park is not being funded by any line item here saying, wait a minute, we're taxing you on this. So it's covered. This is specifically for what it says on here. So I apologize. Somebody else had a question over here. I was talking. Yeah, but are you done?
I think I'm done. But you know what? What I don't understand is when I guess like the library, I'm hearing like they have their own vote.
Yeah.
They vote. Most people, I guess, we're busy people. We have kids, we're running here and there. Nobody knows what they're voting on.
Mm-hmm.
I would think the library's voting, they're voting on buying new books. What do I know?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying to you is, I think in general, I think there's some level of maybe more transparency or more, I guess, communication with the taxpayers that when these votes are happening, that we all should be part of it and know exactly what's going on. And I don't really think we will feel that way. I don't know if you. I don't think we will feel that way.
I'm going to have to guess that the largest portion of you folks are here because you heard about it through social media, or
Right.
possibly your neighbors heard it on social
Yes.
media and
Yeah,
gave you a call. So this is on the website. Unfortunately, in the day and age we live in, people look at Facebook before they look at the website to get their information, or they depend on their neighbors. So, funny enough, I had a gentleman come to me, and he wanted to put up he wanted the town to put up electronic signs at the transfer station, at the corners of the intersections with 3 or more roads, and he wanted these signs put up. And I said, well, how would we pay for those signs? Well, put them up. We got the money. The reality is, it's kind of the yin and yang. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. So things cost money. I totally understand and respect the fact that in this day and age, look, I'm a big guy. I like to eat. I go to the store, and it's like, holy cow, the prices of food. I'm putting stuff down. I know that. I'm living the same thing you folks are living as well. I get that. I understand it. This again is a tentative budget, and the only thing I can tell you is we give our commitment. It's our job. It's our obligation, and it's what we took our oath of office for, is to do this the best way we can, determine what makes the town run. But I'm going to tell you, if there's a truck that needs to be bought to plow snow, I'm not going to not purchase that truck. If there's an employee that needs to be added to the payroll, or there's an employee who's going to go to another municipality or another job because they can't afford to make ends meet here, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty silly when you're sitting here with 3 employees and you've got a town, a municipality, a government center that has to run. You need the people to stay here. You need the people to not want to look other places. I know, bottom line, you have to feed your family. I'm not saying we're not making anybody rich by giving raises. We're not making anybody rich by the benefits. We're keeping good quality people here that do good quality work. I'm going to tell you, I came into this seat January 1st, and I cannot tell you one person, and I won't even say names. If I did, I would tell you, I do not know one person that has not busted their butt to work their butts off in this building, the highway department, our transfer station, and every place through town that's trying to do the right thing to make things better. I'm going to tell you, and me personally, I try to get as much as I can from everybody. I want to get the best I can from everybody. I'm an elected official. I'm temporary. These folks are here. This is their existence. The folks that work here are the people that are sitting right here in the audience now. They have the same wants, the same desires, the same needs, and the same issues going on in their lives. I don't know anybody who doesn't. I really don't. Some people I hear say, "Oh, we don't have a problem. It's better than it's been." Well, it's not better than it's been. We're in tough times. I totally get it and understand it. Again, we have to give the tools. We have to give the product to be able to do the job to sustain what's going on in the town. I don't think anybody is overspending per se. Again, each department during a tentative budget, it's a wish list. It's not going to be the budget we adopt. I'm looking at this at 16.70%. I don't know what the number is going to be, but my anticipation is going to be a lot less of a raise, a hike in our taxes. But again, the 2% tax cap, if we don't pass that law, and we have passed it in the past, other municipalities do it, it's not anything that's not there to do. If we don't pass that, then it's mandatory we stay within that 2% tax cap. And I challenge anybody to come into my office and tell me, I'll do one-on-one, I'll spend as much time, no matter what day of the week, time of the night, you tell me what we can cut and who we can let go and what we don't need and make the town run the way it's supposed to run. There's no frills in this. There is no frills. So, again, it's a tough situation. We totally get it. Hold on, this gentleman here.
Team Bob Mabey, Hull Avenue.
How are you, Bob?
First I'm going to voice the opinion that why did I have to read about this on the wall at Stewart's? Why wasn't it, which was already addressed, you already answered it.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't mind you having an unlimited cap on our budget, but I'm a senior citizen. I've got a well. I've got a septic. We have no municipal sewer. We have no town water. We're paying these big taxes, and I can't even get my leaves picked up in the spring. There's got to be some accountability for this money. We got a library. In your words, it's the time to live in. Sure, they read books on the internet now. There's no need for a library.
Right. Yep. Right.
Again, I can't speak on the library. That's a complete separate animal.
It's the times we live in.
I totally understand it, but that's a complete separate animal. The library, we have no control control over. They do their own budget.
But we do have, we gotta put a cap on this someplace. I mean, to give you an unlimited cap on this stuff.
It's not an unlimited cap. I mean, I don't want you or anybody to be under the impression that we pass this law that we go above the 2% tax cap. What does that mean? Does that mean 2.1? Does that mean 8.1? I don't know what that number is. I don't know what it is, but I can assure you that at 16.70, that was the tentative budget. That was the wish list. I can assure you that it's quite a bit lower than there. We had a 4-hour meeting last night with one of the departments, and it was 4 hours. And I have to tell you, I have a lot of respect for the department. We made a lot of cuts, and rightfully so. Again, you determine the wants and the needs. And some of the things that we feel we need, some of the things we looked at realistically, and we said, hey, let's put it off. Let's research it a little bit further and put it down the road. But again, we cannot kick the can down the road, and the revenues are not there like they used to be. And we can't artificially inflate the revenues. You know, we could do that. We could turn around and say, we're going to get X amount from the taxes. We're going to get X amount from here, X amount from there. I will tell you that early on, the anticipation was, in the economy that we live in, that the cost and the increases in taxes were going to be off the hook. And I don't know, again, if you followed the newspapers, if you followed the internet, if you looked on the website, what we did as a board is we looked realistically at a lot of the fees that were in the town, a lot of the fees. And a lot of the fees were outdated, 2009, 2010. They were much better times than today. And we increased those fees. I will tell you this, October 1st, we increased the fees at the transfer station. So now guess what? You go to the transfer station, there's another legitimate gripe that, holy cow, I was paying X amount to dump my garbage. Now it's another level. And guess what? Those numbers were kind of similar, but actually less than a lot of the local municipalities around us. And the anticipation of keeping those down, the anticipation was we did not want to see couches on the side of the road. We didn't want to see garbage on the side of the road. Unfortunately, there's a lot of places already in town that are like that. And there's a lot of folks, I'm going to say, that voluntarily go out on their own, that we don't ask, that you'll drive by, you'll see a couch. 2 days later, 3 days later, you see the couch. A week later, you may see that couch. But guess what? It's folks like in this room that stop and pick it up on their own when we can't get people to do it. So that's much appreciated. So again, that's a real issue. We still want to make it affordable, but I will tell you that the increase for UCRA, for dumping our dumpsters up there at the transfer station, has increased incredible. And it doesn't come down. They don't say, hey, guess what? We're going to cut that in half because we had a good month 2 months ago. No. They're fighting the same battle. They have budgets to meet. They have things and obligations to do, and we're trying to do our best to keep them down.
I'm just saying, I see your point, but I'd like to see something in return for the money that we are paying. Like, just come back him up the lead like all the other towns around here do.
Well, okay, so let's just say that. Back them up the leaves. So we're going to send a truck out. Okay, we're going to send men out. They're going to spend time. For every hour that they're there, they're going to lose 2 hours that they should have been over here. And the next thing you know, we're fighting that fight again.
What happens when it snows, Dean? You send a truck out, you send 2 men out.
Mm-hmm. Well, 1 man per truck. And I have to tell you that sometimes those guys work 35 hours straight.
I don't mind paying these taxes, but I want to see something in return. I'm on a fixed income.
Understood.
How long can we afford to keep these up?
Mm-hmm. We can't. Understood.
What percentage of this town is on fixed income?
I would say a very large percentage.
Where's the money come from? It ain't growing on the trees.
And how much are you going to drive out by raising taxes? And I'm not talking property owners, I'm talking business. Mm-hmm. You don't have much as it is. You raise your taxes on them, they're going to leave because they can't afford it.
Understood. Totally understood.
Well, also, on another note, it's like the library. When theirs went up, What was the voter turnout? It was really sad. Was it like 67 people, I believe?
Yes.
Did we know?
If that. I was just going to say,
I mean, I see it from the sign that they have
Don't say
posted
that.
in the
They got a
library.
sign right out front, and nothing gets posted on it except town meeting.
I mean,
So
let's be real.
wait a minute. Stop. I'll give you your chance. Just stop
I
it.
found out. That's why I'm late. I just heard about it.
So-
you guys don't let anybody know anywhere this stuff is going on.
right.
That's not right. You guys are pulling a quick.
When you're
Just
all
like
done,
a school
and you
meeting,
allow me to
budget
talk,
with that.
I will talk.
All right, go ahead. But I'm telling you, you set up something to be 500 people here.
Okay.
If people knew,
So
people don't know.
let me say this. I respect the fact that you have your opinion, but you did come in late and we are having a dialogue with everybody. So please relax and you'll get your turn. When we talk about, and I will get to you, Mr. Fowler. When we talk about, we never heard this, we don't see this, we don't know this. Look, the reality is, some of us are working 2 and 3 jobs. Some of us have family obligations. Some of us are single-family homes. Some of us just don't have a minute to breathe. The reality is we don't look at all the signs around. We don't read the paper. We don't get on the internet. We don't do the social media. We don't put ourselves in a position unless maybe we go by the bulletin board in stores and we see an ad for something up there. What ends up happening, I'll get to you in a moment. What ends up happening is we get outraged because we didn't hear anything. We don't know, and it seems to be secretive. The reality is there's obligations to the town, that the municipalities, the government, that we have to advertise. We establish our local newspaper. Our local newspaper is the Southern Ulster Times. It is posted in the Southern Ulster Times. We have a website that was completely redone this spring. It is posted on the website. We have a Facebook page. We have everything. I'm going to tell you, our mailings this year, our mailings are, I believe, don't quote me exactly, but it's over $700 over our budget for mailings. That is just for the day-to-day operations in here. So we have the opportunity to have an established place to get our information from. And there's many different Facebook pages as well, and I'm not saying that we rely on them because we don't. Those are private Facebook pages that advertise and advocate to come on down. You folks admittedly are here because either somebody told you, you saw it on Facebook, you heard about it. How far can we go? Back to the gentleman I spoke about earlier with the signs. He wanted to put up all these signs. If those signs are $5,000 a piece and we put them up, and I know they're going to be far more than $5,000, the initial cost of them, how much to run them, how much to monitor, everything comes at a cost. So we do what we have to do, and we try to go above and beyond so everybody does know. So for anybody to think that it's smoke and mirrors or somebody is trying to hide something, I'm sorry, that's not the way it is. You can feel the way you feel, but it is not the way it is. So, Mr.
One
Fowler.
simple question.
Hold 1 minute. Mr. Fowler, he raised his hand earlier.
Hi, Mike Fowler, Movina. I saw on Facebook that there's a big proposed increase with the police budget.
Yes.
And my question is, has anybody talked to Sheriff Figueroa to see if there's any interest in handing off that workload from the town to the county and incorporating it into his road patrol? And that's a question. The thing that concerns me is I saw a posting on Facebook about a police car going to Albany every day. What is that about?
Okay. So the Facebook post that you saw, was that Town of Plattekill Facebook?
I remember where it's.
Okay.
No, I don't think it was Town of Plattekill. It might have been Plattekill Rising.
So let me tell you this. Start by saying the police department's budget, that did go up quite a bit, and that was again tentative. We spent 4 hours last night with that budget, and we trimmed that budget way down. Again, as far as the question that you had, has anybody talked to the Sheriff's Department or Sheriff Figueroa specifically? I have not. I can't speak for the rest of the board, but collectively as a board, we have not spoken to him about that.
Doesn't it seem like it's a duplication of services to have another police agency? We have the state police, the county sheriff, DEP, DEC. It seems like, that's my personal opinion. And it's a big portion of the budget.
Understood. You know, and I will tell you that when I look down at Plattekill Fire District, you know, the increase, when again, we have no say in that, the increase, I don't know if anybody knows what that justification for that increase is. To me, again, it's the day and times that we live. They want to start an EMS service down there that's more, I don't want to say effective because all of them are effective, but it's more readily available. So that's where the increase is there. So there's definitely things that we need. And I will tell you this, that, somebody said this to me, and I really wholeheartedly believe this. We have a part-time police department in Plattekill. I'm going to tell you something. When somebody needs the police, they call 911. I myself would not look at the police department and say, it's a part-time police department. I'm not going to say, well, it's going to cost the town, send this one, send that one. If I call 911, I want the whole cavalry coming. And I don't only want the police coming, I want the fire, I want the EMS, I want everything coming. So, again,
I
it is...
understand that, Dean, but I'm not as active in the fire department as I used to be. But when I go to a call, there's a state police car there, a sheriff's car there, and a town car there. It seems like redundancy of services.
Understood. It's something, quite honestly, that we could look into.
Thank you.
All set? 1 second. There was a gentleman back here.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're all here basically for a reason.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a copy of what I'm seeing.
It's right on the desk.
There's no more. There's no more.
We will get
That's
to
number one. Okay.
Before you
Number
leave,
two is there's a way to basically take care of that issue. You do send out a tax bill every year. Am I correct in saying so?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You do send out a tax bill every year.
Yes, and that's what we're talking about here.
Well, you can send this out with it. You know what I mean? This way here, instead of hearing it from somebody else.
We're not hearing it.
So this budget here and your tax bill, when your tax bill comes, there's line items on your tax bill to show you what you are actually paying for. If you want a copy of this, you can get it right from the town clerk's office. And again, if there's not enough there before you leave, we can make copies for you. We can definitely give that for you.
That's good.
Yeah. Mr. Limbo.
Michael Limbo. I'm just curious, without mentioning names, why that police car is being used to go to Albany. Because of what happened last year when the police started going down New Jersey and getting in an accident. I mean, if this is for another job, why is the person using his personal car instead of using a town vehicle?
Mm-hmm. So I will tell you that that's an internal problem that is being addressed. I'm not going to speak any more onto that. But the issue that happened last year, that no longer will happen either. That individual has actually retired, and that is all being looked at. But that's an internal issue. Ms. Molson?
Yes, I'm just curious. To me, it's not my job to find out when you're having these meetings. It's the job of the town to let us people know, because I believe if more of us knew, more of us would be here. So there's something wrong in how you're letting us know. I know there's computers and all this stuff, but whatever you're doing is not working. You know what I'm saying? So more people would be here, and where people would be able to voice their opinion.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
So it's not our job to do it. It's your job.
Well, it also goes back to if we do that. So just say hypothetically, what would you say? Just let's say hypothetically mail-outs. We're going to do mail-outs. So we're going to send everybody quarterly. We're going to send mail-outs, and we are going to notify everybody. That comes at an extreme cost. I will tell you this, in the past, we had our publicists used to print up our quarterly flyers, and we'd put them out, and basically what's happening in the town is what it was. It was nice. I couldn't wait for it to show up at one of the stores, the local stores, and go grab it. Inevitably, when we had a budget that we worked off, inevitably, when I went to get that, I very rarely got that because everybody had the same idea and they were grabbed very quickly. With the invention of the internet, again, that is why folks are out. That's why we hear the information. It's how much money do you want to spend on that? Do we want to put another line item in the budget and say we're going to mail 5 times a year, 6 times a year, that comes at a cost as well. We try to do it the best, most effective way.
But that's the way it is. It's not effective because there's nobody here. And there would be so many more people here to voice their opinion. And we're not getting the chance to do that.
So I will say this, and honestly, I really do love the fact that there's a lot of folks here tonight.
This is not a lot compared to
This is a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you, I have been coming to these town board meetings since 1980, quite a long time, and I don't think I've missed over these years. I don't think I've missed a whole lot of meetings. I've sat on the board since 2013, and I have been to every single meeting with the exception, I believe, of 2. I had knee replacement surgery 2 years in a row, and I came here a week and a half to 2 weeks after my knee replacement and sat at the board. So I've come. My point is, over the years that I've come here, there is very rarely more than 4 or 5 folks that sit in the audience. It's the same folks sitting in the audience. It's almost historically the same questions in the audience. And we get other people come in every now and then when there's an issue that's going on. But for the most part, life gets in the way. And like I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of people, and honestly, myself included, that have 2 and 3 jobs. I'm retired, yet I have 2 jobs. So life gets in the way. It's at some point, I think we have to take our responsibility for ourselves and find out the information, and we have to commit and come to the meetings. And public input is the best.
We've been here.
Some of these meetings are more important than others, and
100%.
especially when you start talking taxes.
Yeah.
That affects everybody.
And it's something.
That is a meeting that should be out there no matter what.
Right.
If you have to add it in the budget for that, just taxes alone, I'd say, yeah, add it in the
So every year, and I totally respect what you're saying, but every year, tax time comes at the same time every year. September, October, November. Every single year. It doesn't change. It's been the same.
But we've been out
For a
here
long
since
time.
1982. This is the first time in over 40 years that I've heard of this meeting. First time.
But your tax bill still arrives at your house for 42 years.
Right.
Where
Because
does
they
it
want
come-
their money.
where does it
But
come
I need
from?
the information
Yeah.
about that to be able to come here and voice my opinion. And if I don't have that information, I can't voice it. None of us can. And the second thing that bothers me is, well, a lot of us are on limited incomes. If we get $20 or $10 at the end of the year on our Social Security, that's a lot. To me, it takes a lot of nerve to ask for 16 point something when people that are on limited income don't have. And I don't care what the situation is on that end. That's not my concern. That's your concern. My concern is feeding my kids, keeping a roof over my head, taking care of myself, paying my medical. Just like you have problems here, we have it here too. That's something you don't take into consideration. 16 something is outrageous. I don't know why everybody's not in an uproar.
I have to disagree with you. I think the board lives in the same world you do.
No,
We have-
because you wouldn't be asking that kind of money.
I disagree.
And mostly from people
I disagree.
who don't have it. Anybody here like paying 16 point something?
Nope.
Does anybody care
No.
for it? Speak up.
I don't think there's anybody that
Right.
really wants to
And
pay.
it's on
Not
your
one.
end that you got to
Can't.
find the loopholes, like the car going to New Jersey, not after the fact, before the fact. There's many hidden agendas. There's many hidden things that it's the job of you guys to find out before, not after the accident.
Understood.
You know, so a lot of it falls on you guys because we're here. We know nothing. All we know is you want more money, and I, for one, don't want to give it to you. I don't care if the Pope is here. I don't want to give it.
You may not realize it, you may not believe it. We feel the same way.
If you
Again.
felt the same way, you wouldn't have the nerve to come out here and ask for 16 point something.
So again, like I started off with, again, this is the tentative budget. Our hopes is that we can cut this way back. Tonight, the anticipation is to pass that 2% tax cap so we can go above that 2% tax cap. And what that is, if it's 2.1, if it's 3.6, I don't know what the numbers are. I can't tell you what the
Well,
numbers
how
are
do
yet.
we know what the numbers are?
When we're done doing the budget and we do the preliminary budget, then you're going to know.
We should have that right now. On it, then you just do it.
You keep coming to these meetings and voice your concerns the same way you're doing.
So there's more meetings after this.
We have a meeting on the first and third Wednesday of the month.
Guys, if you stop talking back there, we can hear what's going on because we're all that talk back there. It's making it very difficult to hear other people's comments.
Yeah, please. I'll get you, man. Thank you. Please, Laura. Thank you. So, every first and third Wednesday of the month is a town board meeting.
About this in particular.
There's a town board meeting every first and third
But it's
Wednesday
about
of the
the
month.
taxes itself.
The taxes from now through November, when we finally adopt the taxes, I encourage you to come.
Oh, I will,
Every
now that I
single
know.
meeting. It's been that way forever, the first
But I
and third
didn't know.
Wednesday.
That's what I'm saying. The
All right.
information is not there, and it's the responsibility of you guys to make sure us are knowledgeable about what's going on. I'm stupid. I don't know anything unless you tell me. And if you don't tell me, I don't know.
Well, I don't think you're stupid or anybody's stupid. I think it's just we request and want the information. So I will try to do my best. If I have to reach out to you personally to remind you, I will.
Thank you. And remember, 3%, I get like $20 on my Social Security check.
Totally understand.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have another job like you. You said you have 2-3 jobs. I work them. I'm too old now. And I can't start now, and I don't want to lose my home because of stupidity on another end.
Or agree. Okay.
Well, hold on one second. Last year, what our budget looked like, and we got it down to, yes, it went up a little, but it didn't put anybody out of their house.
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? You don't know them personally.
Because most houses, if you had a house that was about $200,000, $220,000, your taxes went up about $80 a year. The town tax, not school tax. We don't control the school tax. There's nothing we can do about that.
But sometimes that little bit of money puts a person on a limited income where they have less food, less medicine, and they can't care for themselves. They can't pay for their lights. That's the whole picture. You're just looking at your picture. There's a picture on this end.
Well, no, I'm in the same boat. I'm retired. My Social Security raise 2.5, is it 2.5, 2.6. So I know what you're paying, and I know what you're getting.
I have a question.
I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'll get you next time.
I have 2 points, if I may. My first question is, you keep referring to the 16%, but doesn't the 2% tax limit apply to each of those lines on that overview?
It's in its entirety 2%. So all of these factors, when you look at all these things, we're not going to go line by line like the A General Fund. We're not going to stay within a 2% tax cap. That's not how it works. It's the entire accumulation of the budget. So we try to stay within that 2% tax cap.
But if like you said, the library, the fire departments, and whatever are not under your purview, how can...
So, good point. I'm glad that you brought that up. And not that it makes it any easier or understandable, but it's a little bit confusing. So, keep in mind, all of this is cumulative. Ma'am, you can put your arm down. I won't forget you.
I'm fine with my arm up because, one
So
day we'll get there.
overall, the percentage is 16.70. But keep in mind, again, we have nothing to do with the Modena, Clintondale, or Plattekill Fire District. So if you reside in Modena, your taxes are not going to be at the 16.70 rate. It's going to be different. I don't know what it is. I don't have that number in front of me. But it will be a lot less than that. This is just the tentative budget again. And the same thing with Clintondale and the same thing with Plattekill.
Right. But the 2%, like the general fund, is up at 38%. I know you said it's tentative. But that the 2% applies to that. So in other words, it's gone over 36%.
The whole
like
yes,
like the highway department is at 2.99%. So it's gone up 0.99%, or it's over. So that's
But
what I'm trying to
the 2%
clarify.
The 2% doesn't apply to each line item. It applies cumulatively. So just say, for example, like the general fund. The general fund this last year, I believe the insurance, just the insurance for the employees went up 11%. So when you look at that insurance going up 11%, that's a number that we cannot say, okay, New York State,
No, that's not what I'm asking.
we have to keep it down. So cumulative, that 16.70 includes the 3 fire departments as a whole. So we're looking at this as a whole. When we look at it, it's 2% overall. So if you're in the Modena Fire District, Clintondale and Plattekill will not be part of your taxes.
Right.
So the numbers are going to be different. It's kind of confusing the way that it's laid out. I get what you're saying, but it is very confusing.
Well,
I
anyway.
wish we could break it down and say, if you live in the Modena Fire District, it's X amount of dollars.
I mean, when it comes right down to it, each line should not be going over 2%. That's when it comes right down to it. But anyway, my other question was, because I've been sitting in on the budget meetings, and you talked about how you're really working on needs and not wants. But in one of the discussions, I heard you mention, there was a discussion about buying $60,000 in new filing cabinets just so that they would match.
To clarify that, and I think I explained it during that meeting as well, and if I didn't, I apologize for not explaining it accurately. If you look in this building and you go around, you see these cabinets that are right here? These cabinets belong to the Justice Court. It's my understanding that a lot of these cabinets that are in here have material that is not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be in a vault, locked up. If you walk into each one of these offices, which I invite you to come and I'll take you for a walk.
No, I don't need to see
We
it.
go into each room here. You have an unbelievable amount of different size filing cabinets, different shape filing cabinets, different age filing cabinets that have no ability to hang folders in. If you walk in each room, you're going to see boxes of records that really should be locked up and put into a vault. My office, if you walk into my office afterwards, I'd be glad to let you walk in there. You're going to see Justice Court
Not to cut
records.
you
Let me
off,
finish.
but-
You asked me a question. Let me finish. You walk in there, there's Justice Court records from 1972.
But you're not answering my question.
It was not ever said that there was $60,000 in filing cabinets.
Yes.
What I did is I went around to everybody in the building and I said, give me an idea on what you would like to see. I would like to see front filing cabinets. They take up a lot less space, they hold a lot more material, and they're all the same. So instead of having these file cabinets, we may have the opportunity to have them behind the wall.
But these filing cabinets work just fine. Why?
That's not the point.
But wait a second. You were talking about building a new town hall. Why would we spend $60,000 of our tax money on new filing cabinets when we're going to develop this new place, and who knows what we might need then? It doesn't make any sense. And to me, that's not fiscally responsible.
So if you allow me to explain, the question was not $60,000. We were looking at the possibilities of spending $900 a piece for filing cabinets through Courtcraft. Courtcraft is a state agency that sells their material produced in New York State for New York State. The $900 anticipation on each cabinet was not a full $900 because you're buying more than one. Those filing cabinets, whether you get them through Courtcraft or on state contract, I have been looking for grants to do that. I did not say, nor did I ever intend or suggest that they were going to be added as a wish to have filing cabinets. $60,000 was not the number. The number was, I said, hypothetically, if we spend $30,000, one individual said 60, but that was not accurate. excuse me, was not accurate, and I explained it that night. Again, what I did is I went to each department and I said, look, I want you to look at how you store your records. I want you to look at what would make the most sense. Right now, we are also doing a building assessment on the town hall and a building assessment on the highway department. Both of the buildings were built in 1973. Pole barns, the foundations are rotting, and what it is we hired an engineering firm. We went out to an RFQ, request for a quote. We hired Tinkleman and Associates out of Dutchess County to come in and do an assessment on the buildings, give us an evaluation on whether it was cost effective to look into rebuilding or replacing. We also hired a survey company to survey both this property and the property along Route 32 down by the park, the large field in the front. That study was approved. That study was put forth, and that study is paid for through ARPA funds. So again, you're not going to see that where we're saying, hey folks, you got to pay this money because this is what we'd like to have. No, it was a well thought out plan. Once again, we are not going to get the ARPA funds and they have to be spent. And we saw it as an opportunity to not burden the taxpayer, to do the study, to say, this is what we need in the future. It's a 3 to 5 year plan. The board has done their due diligence and has looked at it specifically as a futuristic plan. And the idea was we would have our plans, everything would be written, everything would be able to be laid out to the future politicians and say, hey, Senator so-and-so, we need money to build this building, and we'll let you cut that ribbon opening day. So that's what we did. Rather than wait until later on down the road when we didn't have that money and no way to do it, this building should have been taken care of before 2013.
Well, that's
we put a foam roof on this building in 2013.
I would like to speak.
That was temporary. I'll give you your opportunity.
You received $1.4 million. Is that correct in ARPA money?
It was $1,043,000.
$1,040,000. Okay, so it was over $1 million.
Yep.
And how was that money spent?
I can't speak for the administration in 2019 when they got it. I was on the board, but we did not utilize it for anything other than what was called premium pay. So I believe it was $73,000 or $79,000. It was approximately that number that was given to the employees that worked through COVID during that time when nobody else could go out of the building on the road.
That has nothing to do with
if I may, you asked me a question, and I'm sorry if it's long, but it is the answer. Again, we are utilizing the money right now to expand the park. We're working on that part to do that. We're looking at ways to utilize that money, if we could do it legally, to offset some of the needs that are in our budget. We don't know what they look at like right yet. Again, this is a tentative budget, but as we go through it, our hopes and anticipation is if we can convert some of that money to purchase maybe some of the equipment that's needed without having to burden the taxpayers more in our community, we're going to do that. So expanding the park.
Well, if you expanded the park, why is it that you didn't ask the people of the town what they would like in the park instead of putting in those items? I don't understand that.
So we took out the playground that was not ADA compliant. That was also in disrepair, and we were finding it hard. I had been told over the years to find replacement parts for the ones that broke.
But it won't be ADA compliant because it's got mulch.
So the mulch that's put in there right now is ADA compliant. It's sterilized mulch. There's two types of mulch, and I don't know what the numbers are or the acronyms. But
a wheelchair, anything like that cannot.
No, I totally get that. But ADA compliant may not mean that everything is going to be concrete and blacktop.
Which is the difference.
Yeah. Understood. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if anybody has had the chance to go down to the park, but the park is coming along very well. Wait a minute. I will get to you. Go ahead. Well, go ahead, and then I'll get you next, man.
Okay, I want to go back, and maybe I misunderstood you about the judges. We have two of them, correct?
Yes.
That service.
Yeah.
So your budget is to give them a 6% raise, or they're asking for a 6% raise?
No. What we have to do is we can't really take any seat that's union and talk about any kind of a raise. It has to go up to 2024 budget because they're in negotiations right now. We're negotiating with the police union. We're negotiating with the general union, which covers the town hall, and we are in negotiations right now with the union. Very first time the highway department has ever had a union. So there's certain positions that we can that are non-union give raises.
Okay, because my point is, it's they're here one night a week, 2 nights a week. It's practically
that's the way it seems. No.
Right, but my point is, I know some of them are either retired troopers, they're lawyers. They have a very good income coming on the other side, and now you want to give them a 6% raise, and they're almost making $30,000 now. So instead of maybe a 6%,
I don't know what the number is, but I think it was.
Well, I think you said like 24 something, right?
I think it was 21 or 22,000.
So
yeah.
It's just a suggestion. If we cut areas and we're having problems getting information, and instead of giving that 6%, you cut it less, but then take the money that you save from giving them a raise, go out and purchase a digital sign and put it out front. So now when there's every meeting, you type everything that needs to be said. There's your lighted sign telling everybody what's going on. And it's gonna help Bob say, hey, wow, my tax monies are going to work. Look, now they got a sign out there, and meeting Monday night. It's about taxes. It's about this. It's about that.
100%. We have a sign out there right now.
Right, but I'm talking. So that sign's been there what? How many years?
It doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah. And it never said
they'll say meeting on there, but my point is, like what they're all saying is that to inform everybody, because a lot of people travel this road. Yeah. And instead of, and I'm getting no personal effect against them, but I can't understand how they got a part-time job getting $30,000. It just doesn't make sense. I want that job too.
Well, it's not $30,000.
Well, it's close to it. I'm rounding it off. I would say 25.
Quite honestly, all these jobs seem to be they're part-time jobs. Well, I will tell you that almost every one of these jobs, people are putting in a hell of a lot more hours.
Absolutely, and I understand that, but it just seems a little much for 6% raise, where you could cut it back to maybe 2 or 3.
I'll tell you right now that the judges did not take the 6%.
Right? No, I'm not saying they did. I'm just making a point where when you go to talk about this budget, that might be something you can cut and say, now, hey, guess what? Now we can put a newer sign out there. People in this town can be informed. It's actually using the money in a way that's positive, and now everybody can see it. And it'll alleviate the problem. Well, I didn't know about this meeting. And I'm not saying they don't deserve to get a raise. Everybody deserves to get a raise, but in these times right now,
I get what you're saying.
Everybody's difficult.
I get what you're saying, but I also have to say that their personal business about their financial situations outside of here is really not my business.
Oh, it's not, but I'm knowledgeable. I know a lot of people that were judges, and I know they either retired state troopers or lawyers. They make decent money, triple digits.
Well, again.
So here you are coming here, and again, not trying to be disrespectful, but you're working a couple nights a week and you're getting paid $30,000 a year. I want that job too.
Well, actually, not for nothing, Anthony. Those 2 judges, they get called in all times.
Oh, no. I perfectly understand it. That is part of the job.
Yeah.
7 days.
That's just part of the job. A lot of guys in here work for the state. We understand. You get called in, you get called in. I get it. That's part of it. My point is, instead of sitting there saying, okay, well, we're going to negotiate and you want 6%. Well, you know what? No, we're going to give you 3.
Right.
And then to take the money that you saved and then put it into the town as something positive that's going to alleviate a communication problem, which obviously there is, and again would help the town itself and the people.
It's called budgeting.
Just
that's what we're doing.
Just a point.
I'll get to you. Hang on, man.
Okay, you keep mentioning that you're reviewing the budget, you're trimming this, you're trimming that, but you don't make any numbers. You just leave it vague and hanging.
I cannot, until we put all the numbers together,
well, then that
give you numbers on the preliminary budget. All I can do is encourage you to keep coming.
You're interrupting now.
Go ahead.
Before you ask for this percentage that you're asking for to override the 2% cap that the state has issued, you should already have those numbers, and that they should be printed over there for us to look at before you do any of this.
Right.
You should have been doing this beforehand in all of your other meetings.
That's true.
Yes, I know, right?
May I answer that?
Absolutely, rock on.
That is not the law. That's not how it works. The tentative budget comes out. It's prescriptive in the law, in the town law. We have to
That's
follow.
the way you're
and there's-
writing the town
And there
law.
is, the New York State sets that and makes those laws. We do not. New York State says that we have to have that meeting. We have to announce that meeting by a certain date. Prior, and we have to have that public hearing and pass the law by a certain date. Tonight is the night.
No, then it's a no. It's a hard no.
She's been waiting on that corner for a while.
I'll get you that.
How many people live in the town?
About 10,500.
And how many people we got at this meeting? About 40. I counted them, about 40. We got a problem with communication. We got a definite problem. When you got 10,000 people living in a town, only 40 people show up for a tax meeting, we got a serious problem with communication.
I cannot speak for everybody. They have the same opportunity that you guys have, the same opportunity we have. We advertise it where we're obligated to advertise it. We try to go above and beyond and get it out there. I understand it's echoing throughout the room that our communication should be much better. So don't think for a minute that we're going to leave here and say, no, because honestly, I don't want to see this again. But this is no disrespect to anybody. This is the same thing that happens every year. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, life gets in the way. And we tend to not look at it until it directly hits us. I encourage everybody to come that first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month and attend the meetings. We also have planning board meetings. We also have ZBA meetings. And again, most times those meetings, only the applicants show up and we don't get an audience. So nobody knows what's going on. And then everybody wonders why we're getting a building here or we're getting a building there or a business there. I'll get to you in a minute, man. You set, Bill? Bill? You good?
Yeah.
Sir?
Question. You want to raise my taxes 16 point whatever. Okay? I live in Plattekill. I live on 4455. I absolutely get 2 services from the town of Plattekill. Police, fire. That's it. Plattekill Highway. Everything else, there's nothing for me. I get state to plow my roads. I get county that works there. What do I get besides the 2 things, and you want to increase my taxes to put me in a bigger hole than I already am?
I think you have to look at the whole picture. I mean, I understand what you're saying. It seems like you're on the major highway state, but you still travel the back roads.
I don't travel back roads. I travel county roads. I travel the state roads.
I really don't have an answer
all
for
the
that.
small roads.
There is a lot of things that you get from the town. There's a lot of things that happen in the town. A lot of things that are going on in the town. And I'm sorry that people don't have the opportunity to capture every single essence of the town. But honestly, I love living in Plattekill because there is one heck of a lot of things to take advantage of in Plattekill. There is a lot of good community events. There's a lot of things that gets the folks together. There's a lot of things that we've tried to do to generate communication amongst the different hamlets. One of the most, and I always say this, one of the most unfortunate things is just the demographics of Plattekill, or the geographics, I should say, is we have 3 different post offices, 3 different fire departments, 5 different school districts, 7 zip codes. We have a number of churches, and nobody from Plattekill knows the folks from this side of town, never met these people on that side of town. We try to do everything we can to make the town inclusive and make it good. And I would encourage you to get involved. And
I am involved. I'm involved in a lot of things in the town. I'm here 29 years. And I've seen it go downhill in my eyes. The roads are terrible.
Yes. Yep.
Okay? They're unbelievable.
What roads specifically are terrible?
Just now, even 4455, state road. They finally fixed that 2 years ago. You couldn't drive down it. Drive down 32 towards Newburgh. You kill yourself.
Yep. Right on the Orange County line.
Buy a new car, because by the time you go a year up and down these roads, and even that. But side roads, yes, I can see your independent roads where you have your homes, everything else. Nobody goes in those roads. They use the county roads, they use the state roads. Okay?
Well, I have to tell
But
you
the
that.
thing is that there's so many other things to do. I'm involved with my church. I'm involved with the school. I have rescue dogs that go out for therapy for everybody. So I do a lot of things. I'm a retired paid fireman. We have volunteer firemen here, which is a great thing, because I was a volunteer for over 30 years. But there's nothing showing that. Why do we need this? They want. Everybody wants. Everybody's driving around in a new car.
Yep.
Come on. I was on a deployment. We had rigs for 15 years. We didn't go out and buy one every 10 years or every year to get a new car because they wanted an update. It's just getting overspent.
Understood.
We're not thinking. All right, cars don't get worn out in a year.
Understood. I'll get to you. This gentleman's in front.
All right. My name's Mike Majorano, by the way. I'm sorry I came in hot for.
That's all right, Mike.
A little fired up, like a lot of people are. I feel that more people should know. I heard at 7:10. I jumped in the car. 7:01. I called my buddy. He's on the way. I said, "Jump in the car. We got to get down there." But there's a couple of things I want to touch on.
Yeah.
My mortgage just went up $180 a month related to the school stuff. I'm on a fixed income too. My wife, her job said no raises this year. Right now it's going up more. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. We're talking about building a new building. You just said 4 people show up to the meetings. Why do we need a new building if nobody shows up?
Yep.
Again, that's feasibility study.
Hold on, let me get through this. Then I'm looking at this town of Plattekill dog control thing. 0 dangerous dogs. Everything is resolved. I've been in contact with Andrew McGee. I have a neighbor. Her dog killed my cat, killed a neighbor's chicken, killed another neighbor's chicken.
Sure.
I've gotten pictures, this dog on my yard, aggressive towards my wife. Nothing's been done. He goes, this is the way it goes. And Andrew's been good about it. They issued a court date. The guy didn't show up. Nothing happened. And then I got to come in here and I see we have 0 dangerous dog cases. Like, what is that? Like, realistically, what is that? Because this is smoke and mirrors. This isn't what actually, this is not what's going on.
I would ask you, if you could, give me a call tomorrow. We'll talk about that further.
Yeah, you have a card?
And Friday night, I'll give you my number.
Okay.
And Friday night is Andrew will be here for his budget meeting.
Okay.
So
I haven't met Andrew
please
yet,
come.
but we've talked 15 times on the phone.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Where are you
When
located?
the
Are you
dogs
right here in
running
town?
loose, killing people's pets.
Are you
That's
right here in
crazy.
town that you're located? Or?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, definitely.
And also, what he was saying, the taxes. I live on a private road. I got to plow my own road. I got to plow the road next to my road. I don't even get a mailbox. You know what I mean? It's a sewer, septic. I get nothing. I pay $11.5 in taxes, and it just went up. It's insane, man.
Totally.
That's why I'm fired up. That's why some of these people are fired up. It's ridiculous.
We need another meeting so more people can hear about it. More people can come. But I can tell you this, I know 13 people in my development who will be here, but they didn't come because they didn't want to overcrowd. If everybody knew about it, you'd have to have it at the community center.
Well,
Because
we
nobody in
do
this
not have a
town
community
right
center
now,
in the town.
nobody in this town right now can afford an increase that you're asking for.
Totally understood.
Cost of living is 7.5%, I think.
I think that's conservative.
The outcome of it is basically, I own my own business. I haven't taken a raise in 3 years. Okay? I keep my guys working. They pay their taxes. Okay? But it's getting to the point. I'm a senior. I'm a Vietnam vet. I applied for a tax break. They gave me $200 off. Think about that. I did 13 months in combat for $200 a month. Okay? It's getting ridiculous.
That's insulting.
It needs to be insulting.
It really is. That's crazy. I'll get back to you, ma'am.
Annette Leskowski. I'm one of the 4 people who show up all the time. Pete, I don't think that it's clear exactly what's going to happen. November 6th is going to be the budget hearing.
That will be the actual budget hearing.
Three budgets. This is the first one. The second one is the one that you propose, and the sixth is the meeting that the people can go to and question
Yes.
line by line what you did, why you did it, and hopefully have you change it.
And that will be the opportunity with the actual budget.
And what's the date?
Six.
The sixth.
Well, if we don't like it, then
Yeah,
there's
you
nothing
can't
that
do
can be
anything
done.
about it at that point.
You can voice your opinion, and I'm not going to tell you that won't happen. I can't tell you that. That's your opportunity to voice your opinion.
The problem that happens every year is people show up to this meeting because you hear about you're going to do the tax cap. The meeting that's important to go to is the one on November 6th because that's the second budget that they put together. After that budget hearing, after they make their other changes, hopefully reductions, the final budget comes out and nobody has a say on that. But on the 6th, at the budget hearing, is where people should come and ask the intricate questions.
Just to echo on what you're saying, and I did say it earlier, I think it's important that everybody come the first and third, all the meetings from now through the budget. I would love to see folks here for every meeting that we have, but I think specifically, don't leave here discouraged and not come back at the next meeting. Come back. Look at the agendas, but it's important to come back. We're going to give everybody an opportunity. We have a portion of our meeting where we can have public comment, and that's also a good time to express your desires, your interests, your comments. But thank you for that, Annette. Leave you on the red hat.
Yeah, my name is Mike Secreta. I live over in Summer Ridge Drive. I'm retired. My wife's retired now. We're on a fixed income. I inquired about the senior citizen reduction, right? Years ago, it used to be, I think, $60-something thousand between the couple. Now it's only $32,000. My bills in my house are over $3,100 a month. It's already, I'm almost over. I mean, why is it so low?
That is something that we do not have any control with. That's a county and state.
I mean, here we get, you want to raise our taxes, but you have no control over that.
We don't have control over
So
that.
who controls that?
The county and the state control those taxes. So I would encourage you to reach out to the Senate. We all have senators for the areas. They're congressmen. And I believe that really is something that should be looked at.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, that's ridiculous.
You know, again, when we talk about the veterans exemptions.
You can't make more than $32,000 on your retirement?
Yep.
My bills are $3,200 a month. You know, it puts me over every year.
Well, that's like the star exemptions. That's all by the state.
Yeah, but you're adding up more on the town.
I mean, I could see like every year, you know, I check my taxes, it went up 2%. Right, that's fine. Okay. Now 16%? That's going to screw me really bad.
Well, again,
I mean,
this is the tentative budget.
How much is that all going to be a year in dollars and cents?
If you're looking at it right now, if you're looking at it right now, we never touched anything. We're talking about, let's just see. So if we raise it right now and we use $300 out of the unexpended fund balance for our general fund, we're looking at a home of $275,000. Your taxes would be $710.60 a year for the general fund. But that sounds like it's low, and it is. You have to add in your highway also into that. So for that same home on $275,000, you're going to look at it, and it's going to be $629.64. So you're talking about $1,400.
Yeah, but how about our houses that are worth more than that?
100%. Keep in mind, this is not on the value of your home. This is your assessment. So it's taxable assessment. So I don't know what the exact numbers are. Don't hold me to it, but
it's going to be more than
I'm not sure what the percentages are.
Now, right?
Well, let me just say this. Just say the $300,000 home in the town of Plattekill. That's assessed at $300,000. I think that, to me, a little bit above. I think we're more towards $250,000, $275,000. When you look at those numbers, that doesn't mean that home is only worth $275,000. There's a percentage of the total value of what they tax it on. So it's taxed at a 60% rate. It's taxed at 67. I don't know.
Well, my assessment was $333. That's how much my house. They say.
Well, that's your assessment, but that's not the appraisal of your house. Your house realistically might be $510,000.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
So
I think this year we're at like 50% equalization rate.
I don't know what that is. I thought it was not a solid number like 50 or 55 or 60. I thought it was 57 or 63.
That's what I'm saying. I think it.
But that just gives you a rough idea. So this can be as much as a 70 cent per thousand increase. So, to me that's substantial. And that's for the general fund. If you're looking at it with the same house for the highway fund, and keep in mind those budgets are two different percentages. That's 5 cents per thousand. So. Again, 16.5%, 16.7 or 70. That's our tentative budget and our desire and hopes. We're going to get it down. We're going to get it down. It's going to come down. Okay. Mr. Baum?
Yes, I don't really look at this as a 16.7% overall increase. I look at it as a 38+% increase in the general fund, and I find that more onerous. So my question to you is, if you could extrapolate the feelings of the town through what you're seeing here at this meeting, and you took the historic step of not exceeding the 2% cap, what would happen?
What would happen is that we would have to stay within that 2% increase, and we would do the taxes at 2%, and we would have to cut services. We would have to cut services drastically. And there's mandates that we cannot cut, so we would actually be going in debt. And when I say that, you look at things like insurance. Insurance is not just for the employees. You have insurance for vehicles, you have insurance for buildings, you have insurance for properties. All of that goes up in a percentage. You have the increased cost to run the town, the fuels, the heat, the electric. We also have an obligation for the web to use internet and other things that we have. Cell phones, funding the police department. We would drastically have to cut and really establish an austerity budget where we would lose a lot of services. And we would probably even come to the point where we'd have to close down departments. I don't know what that would look like. I really don't. And my desire and hope is that we never have to come to that and live that way. We have a town to run. It's our obligation to make it as affordable as we can. I have always said and will continue to say that $20 in a person's pocket, $10 in a person's pocket changes that person. It's tough. We realize the world we live in. We're not sitting up here in some kind of an ivory tower saying, we're not listening to you. We hear you. We're living that same life. Everybody has their own story. And, it's not up to me to make your story my story. It's our story as a community. We're trying to survive. We want good things for our community. We want the government to work. We don't, my thing is, do I believe in large government and government's here to help? No, not at all. There's things and obligations that we have to do and have to supply and we have to support and we have to fund, and we're doing our best where we can. And again, my oath, I take that very seriously. And, again, this is a tentative budget at 16.70, and we are doing our best to cut it. And I feel we're making headway. I just cannot commit to what that number is going to be at the end of the day. I don't want to give false information or false hope. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got a quick question. A couple months ago, I was on New Unionville. Dog got hit by a car. Right? Couldn't find the owner. Called the cops. We were told that there's no cops. It was a Saturday night. Plattekill. Called state trooper. So what is that about?
So I will tell you this, that there is shifts in Plattekill on the weekends that have not been covered because of staffing issues. Maybe there was nobody available. Again, we're a part-time department, so we cannot guarantee that every single shift is filled. But I can tell you that's something that we take very seriously, and we are addressing that. And that is a big concern.
It was like 10 p.m. It wasn't like 3 in the morning when it was pretty early. I mean, it was nighttime.
No, we're aware.
It was
of that.
early enough.
Yeah, we are aware of that. And again, that is something that we take very seriously. And, we are trying to fill every single shift. And I do know that we are not at full staff with the PD. And again, it's a part-time department. But to me, it's our obligation, if we're going to fund those lines, then I want somebody there. That's what we want.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. You say you want to increase. We say no, but pretty much we all know it's going to happen, right? No matter how much we protest. But I just want to make sure if there is an increase, then maybe someone should be put on a shift. Because if our money's going to go somewhere, I'd rather have it going into people working and not just, $1 million into mulch at a park or what. I'm just using it as an example, but I know how wasteful spending it could be. Like there's a lot of waste going on.
Yeah.
And when the economy is as bad as it is, I would like to see you guys trim where you can. Like you say, the cabinets. Why not just get a room and put like a metal door on it, with a security lock or whatever, and just say this is our room for the vinyl and stuff.
Can I invite? Honestly, and I'm not going to do this to say this to be funny. Okay. I'm going to do this to be totally honest and upfront. So we have court in the same room that we're sitting in right now. In court, we have, I would say, as many as 100 to 125 people that come in here on a Monday, and they come in here on a Friday. Our court is extremely busy. And those folks are here sometimes from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So that being said, we have an ADA. Not only do we have an ADA, we have public defenders, we have attorneys that come in, talk to their clients, and that is our holding area right there, this little room with a bench into it. That's our holding area, that if somebody comes from Ulster County Jail, from any place from DCJS that's already incarcerated, they put them in there to secure them away from the folks that are out here. So that being said, this building, if you will, the double doors that are in the back of the room, we have to give the attorneys and their clients an area where they can go in there and converse and actually talk about their cases. They have to have the opportunity away from everybody, so their situation, it's almost like the HEPA law. Their situation is not explained in front of other people, and that's what we have to do. But honestly, truly, not to be funny, take a walk into that room and take a good look at that room. Anybody, I invite everybody to take a look at that room before you guys leave tonight. If you are, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and if you're coming into court and you already have 150 folks, maybe 50 at a time, people are constantly flowing in and out, and I will tell you, we have one bathroom. We do have a urinal and a toilet in that bathroom. So that services everybody who's here, plus the staff of the town. But that's where you're going to go to talk to your attorney. And honestly, I'm not being funny, but you've got a hot water heater in the back there. To the left, you have shelves that have cardboard, recyclables that are over there. We have a very small area on the top shelves where the overflow from the offices put stuff in there. I think our municipal worker is in here a couple times a week breaking down the cardboard to get it out of there because of the day-to-day operations. But you also have something that's in there, and I shouldn't say it out loud, but I will. On the right-hand side with that door that's there is our entire IT department. All the computers that support everything that's going on in the town. All right, well, I understand that this building isn't great compared to other courthouses. So, like even like Newburgh down the road. It's got all kinds of stuff. So I understand that, but if you're looking to do a new building, why not wait till inflation comes down a little bit? Wages go up. Don't misunderstand what I said earlier. 100%. It's a 3 to 5 year plan down the road. What 3 to 5 years looks like, I may not be sitting here in 3 to 5 years.
I understand.
I may be standing there alongside of you saying.
But when it comes to town buildings, it goes union. I know that. He's a union iron worker. I was a union iron worker for 17, 12 years. So we know. You know the costs. The costs are pretty high. And it has to go union because of PLA and all that stuff. So I understand that's good, but I think that maybe we should just try to push it off a little bit,
Understood. Keep in mind, the feasibility study that we're doing and the work that we're doing is funded through the ARPA funds. It's a use it or lose it. It didn't cost us directly, the taxpayers of the town of Plattekill, directly to fund that entire, we all pay taxes, so there's no such thing as a free lunch. But that money is available to use, and we felt that it was smart to utilize that for this portion now. So we're paying for it now with money that we receive through the federal government to do the study, to have everything in writing. So 3 to 5 years down the road, if it's feasible to do it, that's when it's going to be presented. And the work that's being done today, I'm just going to give you a hypothetical number, $100,000 today, 7 years down the road, with the economy the way it is, that $100,000 may be $300,000. And guess what? We're going to have folks fill in the room and say, why didn't you do this before? It makes so much more sense to have everything there to be able to present it down the road and say, this is what we're looking for. This is what we need. This is what we have to survive. As opposed to, we'd like to have this Taj Mahal, we'd like to have this, we'd like to have that. It just makes sense to do it now when it doesn't cost us on this line. It doesn't affect our budget at all to do this. And if we don't do this now, then we lose that money. And so it was an opportunity to spend that money what we felt was wisely to do. And again, if anybody has any questions after here, don't feel like, there's no opportunity. Please give me a call, come in and sit down and voice your concerns. Tell me. And it doesn't matter that it's just budget season. I mean, any time of the year. There's always something going on. And we don't consider just September to November budget season. We as a board consider every day budget season. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. Was there somebody else? Yes, ma'am.
I had a question about, this is the page where we have the general fund, the highway fund, and then we have special districts.
Is there a number on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
Or are you the square, the box is square?
Yeah, it looks like this, just before that one.
On the right-hand side, I think there's a page number.
There's no page number. Town of Plattekill 2025 tentative budget summary of levy and determination.
First page in.
Before that other chart. So I just want to make sure that I get it right. The first two lines are general and highway town.
Yes.
So everybody pays those taxes, right?
Yes.
It's divided up among all of us.
Yes.
Then we get to special districts. So there's the library district. I live in Clintondale. So my library is actually a library in Highland.
Lloyd. Town of Lloyd.
In the town of Lloyd, right. So I'm not going to be paying anything for that town of Plattekill library,
No,
right?
you pay the town of Lloyd.
Right, okay. So then when we get to the light districts, I just pay for Clintondale. I don't pay for Modena. If you live in Modena,
I am not sure about that. I can't answer that accurately because I think since they're on state roads, I think that we collectively pay for the 3 different districts. I'm not sure, but I can look that up and let you know.
Then there's these drainage districts. If you live in the drainage district, you pay the tax, right?
Yes.
If you don't live in that drainage district, you don't pay any tax.
I believe you're accurate with that. That is what they call it in and out. So that'll be offset by a revenue sheet in the budget. It'll show that like developments have the drainage districts in it. So the taxes are collected through the developments and then it's an in and out. So if a dollar comes in and there's a dollar required for that drainage district, that's how they do it.
Okay. And then depending upon which fire district you live in, you just pay that part of it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we all can see how that works.
There's 7 different drainage districts, and they're listed right there as well. You have Hunt Road Drainage District, Glen Rock Hills, Torrey Gardens, Spring Meadows, Peters Place, Finn Estates, and Huckleberry Ridge.
Okay. Great. That's all I want to know is make sure you see how it's divided up.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I appreciate the time. I don't envy the position any of you in tonight having to present us with a almost 40% tax increase on top of an 8% last year. It reminds me of prior to me taking office as a county legislator, the 2 terms before me, 2 years prior to me taking office, the tax was time went up almost 50%. We had to make tough decisions back then in order to get things under control. We actually sold off a nursing home, which was very unpopular at the time. We put a lot of people lost their jobs, and some people claim that the services went down. But looking at this budget, the tax levy is increasing by almost $500,000. The line item on the police department is increasing by $479,000, almost equal to that. I know it's impossible to freeze that number to where you can get this down to a zero, and I know you guys are working hard. I watched the videos. I talked to Mr. Hoppenstead about it, trying to get these numbers down. But the conversation, to echo Mr. Fowler's point, needs to be had with the county, state police, and this is not to disparage the hard work that the police department does. The officers that are out there risk their life. Every time you go out there, they may not come back. They should be paid and well protected. But is it worth $1.2 million to have a part-time police department? Can we use that money better to offset tax increases in the future? And can the Sheriff's Department in Ulster County provide that service? Ulster County has a $440 million budget with a surplus of $171 million. We could surely offset to help protect this town. And judging by the mood here tonight, I'm going to recommend, I don't know the time frame that you have, but I believe there's time where you could hold this public hearing open and keep it open for more further comment down the road. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next? Yes, sir.
Matthew Morrison, 332 Medina. I just wanted to ask a couple questions. One was police. How many part-time employees does the police department have?
The part-time police officers, I believe they have I think the number goes up to 23 or 24, and I believe right now they are shy by 6, but I do know that there's an anticipation of bringing more on over the next 2 months.
I was just wondering. At one time, wasn't the police department closed down under the previous administration? And the sheriff's department's closed?
I don't ever remember that happening. Yeah, I don't ever remember that happening.
Thank you.
Right? Anyone else? Anyone else? I'm going to take this opportunity now to read a letter that I received, and I said that I would read this. And this is for the public hearing. This letter is going to be from Joyce Hetzler, and it is dated Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. My name is Joyce Hetzler. My children are the 5th generation to live in our old farmhouse located in Plattekill. We love our community, and we're proud members of it. When I first heard about this proposed law, I was taken back. Currently, my husband and I pay around $10,000 in taxes. We work hard to provide for our family and oftentimes have to make sacrifices to make ends meet. My 3 children don't have lavish birthday parties. They wear hand-me-downs, and our newest car is 12 years old. I have watched my bills increase, yet each week I bring home the same paycheck. I don't get arbitrarily decided to raise what I bring home. That enables me to get a new car or afford a new roof. I am asking the town not to pass the law, but rather do whatever every family in this town does, which is cut costs, make sacrifices, and keep the tax levy increases. Keep to the tax levy increases. 4, if this vote passes, not only will each member of this board lose my next vote, but you also lose my respect, for you are not willing to do what your constituents do every week, every month, every year. It is not signed because it was an email, and I thought it was important to read that. These are the thoughts of our entire board. This is real life. What you folks shared with us tonight is real life. And it is tough decisions. And again, I will tell you that I took an oath, and my oath is to do the job. And I have to do the job the best way I know how. I feel that the board is the same mindset. If they're not, please feel free to speak. It's not an easy decision to make. It's not an easy thing to do. Again, the tax cap is simply to go above the tax cap. This is a tentative budget. The budget is presented as a tentative budget at 6.70%. I will say that we did trim quite a large number off the police department's request. I am not going to balance the budget, if you will, off the backs of the employees. The employees suffer and live through the same experiences that we described earlier. Those folks don't make a whole lot of money. And again, the position that the board has felt is that they also have to survive. We do not want to have spaces or places in our employees that are here that we have holes that we can't fill because we're not being competitive with other locations or private businesses. So we are obligated, and I believe both morally but specifically obligated, to make sure that the folks get paid to do the job that they were hired for. We are also obligated to supply and furnish the equipment, tools, necessary PPEs, whatever it takes to do that job and do that job in a safe, effective manner that benefits all of us. Although we may not see every single thing that the employees do or that the government here in the town of Plattekill does or supplies or provides for you, but I can assure you that everybody in public service, both on the town general level, at the highway department, at the transfer station, at each fire department that is in our area, in our town, do a heck of a lot with a very little. And we keep asking them. And I think that realistically, you know, I understand, but it's not the same world that we grew up in. These are tough times. And honestly, I respect in everybody's input, and it is all duly noted. But at the end of the day, we are not going to not supply the necessary things that we have to do. Now, I get it. I understand it, that everybody isn't privy to every single or desires to be part of every single thing that's provided by the town, nor any of the other governing agencies that collect taxes to offset the cost of doing business. But the reality is, we are all in this together. So, at this time, is there anybody else that has anything else to say, comments, input? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Morris, I have a question. Will the preliminary budget be available to the public before November 6th?
Yes.
And when can we pick
I'm not 100% sure of the date, but I can read it in the book after the meeting, and I'll let you know. But it will be presented beforehand. We are still going through the, again, we still have 1, 2, 3 more departments to do the budget meetings. Just to let you folks know that tomorrow night we have safety, which is actually the building department, and I believe that's at 4:30. Friday we have the recreation department, and we also have the local troop. So both of those will be on Friday. But I encourage folks to attend, to attend those meetings, and you can voice your concerns, make comments. I will give you the opportunities if you'd like. Those are smaller budgets. I will tell you that last night the police department was here, and respectfully, they worked right along with us. They presented a budget. There was a lot of wants on there, and there was also a lot of needs. And out of respect for all the costs going up, they took those needs and they looked at them a little bit differently. They offset a couple things, agreed to research them a little bit better, and maybe implement them down the road. There was a couple of new items on there that were mandates, and we did not fully fund them because we didn't have a history to go on what they would cost. So we are going to do our due diligence to try to keep within those budgets. But the reality is, if they're mandates, we may have to move money from another line, which that line is going to suffer to satisfy the mandates in that line. But again, it's I don't want to say a balancing act per se, but the budget is an estimate, a projection of what's going to happen, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future. My hopes are that things change. Things have to change drastically. it's just a tough time. I have one more. You had a question?
I just wanted to let you know that each week we publish all the meetings that happen in Town of Lloyd, Marlborough, and Plattekill.
And that's with the Southern Ulster Times. So you can go onto their website, and pretty much your website there's a lot of free uses. I don't know if there's
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a cost to do it, but I do know that I go on there quite a bit.
But it's every week we publish all the meetings.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. Another question?
One more question. You took $300,000 from the town's unexpended budget, and then $300 from the highway department.
Yes, there's $300 from the highway department.
Can I ask what the total amount is of their unexpended budget?
This right now is again tentative, but I'm going to tell you this. Last year we took $200,000 from the highway department's fund balance. Out of that $200,000, $180,000 or $184,000 was spent on a backhoe. So it sounds like, holy cow, you're taking it and you're going backwards, but it's not. This year, $300,000 is going to be taken from the highway department, the DA fund balance, and $263,000 is going to be spent on a replacement chipper and to replace a F-450 dump truck, which is a snow plow and a sander.
I was more wondering what we have remaining in the unexpended fund balance.
Right now, the fund balance, I'm not sure the numbers exactly, and I'm not going to quote the highway department, but I will tell you that the fund balance for the general fund is approximately, I believe, $1.2 to $1.3 million.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So I will make a motion to close the public input for the public hearing portion.
We'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor to close the public input with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried.